Well, welcome to the Thortography channel and the Thor Talk. Today I have a special guest, Brian Timmer. He is an artist out of Lawrence, Kansas. And I'll read a short little blurb about Brian here, and then we'll chat with him and see some of the artwork that he's doing. Just as a note, Brian is the one who did the painting behind me. So for those of you out there who are wondering, where did that thing come from? You're about to find out. But Brian received his Bachelor's of Fine Art in Painting from Western Michigan University in 2003. 8 years later, he completed a Master of Divinity in Theology at Nazarene Theological Seminary in Kansas City. He thinks of art as a medium for examining and expressing thoughts about inner and outer realities. He regularly explores themes of human purpose and meaning, often commenting on daily priorities, fears, and motivations that shape our lives. In his outer representational work, he strives to capture and celebrate the grandeur and detail of the natural world. In the end, he hopes to have a distinct and expressive and captivating style. Brian, thank you so much for joining us from your studio there in Kansas, and appreciate you being willing to sort of come on the show here and show us a little bit of the work that you're doing. I guess my first question is, I'd like to get a little bit of background about people and sort of get a sense of what sparked your interest in art in the first place. Is that something that started in your youth or further along in your life? And how has it evolved and sort of been shaped over time here? I know, big question, big starter question, right?
Well, it's a good question. I remember being in art school, and there was a quote by Robert Rauschenberg, which he was like an assemblage artist in like the 60s. But I don't remember exactly how the quote went. But somebody asked him, like, how do you know when a person is an artist, or how does a person become an artist? And he said something to the effect that an artist is not, you don't make an artist. An artist just is, like, they're born that way, and they kind of view the world a little bit differently, and they have a certain innate sense of beauty and design and composition and creativity. And so, I mean, when I think about, like, when I was a kid, immediately when you asked that question, I thought about this coloring contest I was in when I was like 5. And I was for Meyer in Michigan. Well, I'm in Kansas. There's no Meyer here, but in Michigan, there is. But it was like I had these two kids sitting at a bus stop, and I had to color these kids, and I colored this bus and all this stuff. And I worked so hard on that, and I did it I was like so passionate about the way I was using these crayons. And I remember praying after I got it done. It was like, Lord, help me to win this thing. I am trying my best. I think it's an awesome coloring page, and I know I can win this thing. And it was like a couple weeks later, I got a call from Meyer that I was picked out of all, like, hundreds of coloring pages on this big wall that they had in the checkout area. And so it's just weird because, it's like ever since I've been tiny, it's like I wanted to use bright, beautiful colors and make things, So
Yeah.
it just is.
Yeah. Well, and now you've sort of arrived at that in some regard from the work that I've seen in terms of the bright and beautiful big colors. Tell me a little bit more about some of the inspiration that you get, or where it comes from. Do you have sort of some things that you draw on for your art in that creative process?
It's an interesting thing. So when I went to art school, I went to Western, which you mentioned, Western Michigan University, and when I was there, I was primarily doing abstract kind of work, or more abstract expressionistic type work. And I didn't think I would ever really do any landscape work at that point, landscape paintings. One of my favorite artists is a couple of my favorite is one is William de Kooning, and another one is Basquiat. Basquiat is a graffiti artist. He's no longer alive, but he, you know, he just has his amazing work, and it's just raw, pure emotion. It's hard to even necessarily follow a story in the work, except the compositions are incredible and the color is incredible. And so for me, I've always been drawn to more just sort of emotional connections with art, both in music and in the visual art. And so where like if I like compare myself with my wife Betsy, who's very narrative driven, she always has a story. It's very just very a certain way of working, a story she's crafting. She's like, I'm not like that. I'm more of a like I'm not even sure where I'm going sometimes. It's more mysterious for me. And so I actually stopped painting for a number of years when I was in seminary and didn't have time or energy to paint and didn't even really know why I was. And then sort of compartmentalized my life into like, well, I was an artist at this point in my life. Now I'm a pastor. It was like, time to switch hats, you know, kind of thing. And I realized now after several years of making art and doing it full time now that that I'm a pastor and a painter both simultaneously, and I don't just take one hat off, put another one on. Sorry, that was a long. I don't think I really answered the question.
Well, that's okay. For those of you viewing out there, I just wanted to mention Brian is married to Betsy. Betsy is an artist in her own right, and maybe we'll have her on the program sometime. But so I'll leave links for both of their artwork in the description. So without getting too much further, I wanted to give people sort of a sense of the scale and type of landscape work that you're doing. So I'm going to bring up a couple of images, and maybe you can talk about how those images came to be, and then show us around your studio space and tell us a little bit more about how the studio came to be. So I don't know that you'll be able to see this, but the first image here, this is your John Brown image, and tell me a little bit more about the background of this painting, because if I remember right, this was one of the earlier paintings that you did sort of when you started doing art again. Is that accurate?
Yeah, really it is. It's so weird how it all works. But I had somebody, they were creating a speakeasy style bar here in Lawrence, 20s themed kind of bar, and it's going to be really cool. A historical figure that I never really heard about until I moved to Lawrence, John Brown. John Brown was during the 19th century. If you live in Kansas and Lawrence, this is part of the border wars where they were fighting for either having slaves or being a free state. Lawrence was trying to be a free state. John Brown believed it was his mission. That God had told him that basically anyone who believes that slavery is right, that he had license to kill them, to do what he was supposed to do. And he lived in Lawrence here, and so John Brown is like this, pretty major figure around here. And then in the capital, in the state capital in Topeka, which is about a half an hour away from here, there's a gigantic painting by a guy named John Stuart Curry called Bleeding Kansas. And in that painting is John Brown, in the way that he's depicted in this painting, not with the lady, of course, but with a gun in one hand and a Bible in the other. And he's standing on top of a bunch of dead bodies, and he's basically like, he just is this looming, powerful character that very impressive. So they decided to call this bar John Brown's Underground. And so I was having problems in the beginning. They called me and they asked me if I was interested in doing a mural there. And they'd seen one of my abstract paintings, which is really interesting that they saw an abstract painting and they wanted to know if I would do something more representational. But they did, and that was cool with me. So, but actually, Betsy and I talked a little bit about the whole idea, and it didn't make sense to put. If it was going to be John Brown's Underground, it was going to take place in the 20s, which doesn't connect to John Brown. He's 1860s. I didn't see they were going to have this cool bar with ornate velvet wallpaper and whiskey barrel tables, and I mean, it was just like really classy, cool speaking style. And so I said, well, do you mind if I take John Brown out of the painting, Bleeding Kansas? They asked me if I would paint Bleeding Kansas on the wall there. I said I didn't. I'd like to take him out and integrate him with 20s imagery. So I'm wondering, I don't know if this would be feasible or not, but I can bring you down to another part of my space.
Yeah.
Where I had some artwork hanging up, and I actually have the painting here that I can kind of. Will this work?
Yeah, we got you. We're there.
Okay, so this will be good. So basically, this is Lawrence in 1923. Here, these buildings are. Downtown Mass Street, where my studio gallery is. So I took as much 20s information and merged it with John Brown. So I put a flapper girl, kind of like he's the hero. She's sitting on a whiskey barrel table, which they have the whiskey barrel tables in there. Then, Lawrence is big time basketball. The Jayhawks are a major basketball team. In fact, basketball was founded, like James Naismith, the founder, the person who made basketball, is from that happened here. So Lawrence is on the map for basketball. It's like a most enthusiast bucket list to come here to go to Allen Fieldhouse and watch basketball. And in 2008, they won the national championship. And Mass Street pretty much looked like this. I remember a guy running down the street naked. Like it was complete mayhem. But over here, there's 3 flapper girls here holding national championship trophies. And so I integrated those guys in. Here's Larry Brown over here. He used to coach here.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he coached at the Pistons too.
Yeah.
And then Bill Self is another coach. He is the coach right now, and he's doing a great job. This is the 23 Jayhawk over here. So we have that Jayhawk. And actually, a lot of information for this. The mural is 7 by 9 feet, so it's really big. But a lot of inspiration came from the Great Gatsby movie. As I was trying to figure out, okay, what would a party look like in the 20s with Leonardo DiCaprio? And actually, Leonardo DiCaprio is in here, very, very loosely painted. You would have a hard time knowing it's him, but he's here, and this girl he's with in the movie. I didn't want to draw them out so perfectly that everybody was like, why is Leonardo DiCaprio in this painting? So it took about 80 hours to create, and it's really what has connected me with Lawrence. I mean, this is like, if you equate this like in music, this is like one of my biggest hits, actually. Even though I don't paint like this normally.
Right.
In this city, this is what they're like, oh, you're the John Brown guy, So
yeah.
I've sold a lot of prints of this.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, yeah. It's amazing to think that I mean, obviously this is a smaller rendition here, but you took an image and you sort of made it what it should be for the space that it needed to be, right? Yeah. Well, I guess while we're in your studio, maybe you can show us around a little bit more and talk to me a little bit more about how the studio came to be. Was that sort of something that's always been on your goal set to have your own space? What's it like to sort of balance this artistic side, and then now you have a business side as well? Like this is what you're doing, and talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, really, it's crazy the way it works. I mean, I wasn't planning on having like a gallery in the studio down here. What happened was, I started painting again after years of not painting. And what was the first one I did? Actually, one of the first paintings I did this landscape. This is a canvas printed. It's the same size. This is the foothills. It's a part of the canvas. And there was such response to me painting landscape painting. Everybody said, "Wow, you should keep doing this." Right? They want to see more. In fact, I was posting stages as I was creating, and So, and I really thought, I'm going to drive people crazy with all these stages. They're gonna be like, enough of this. Like, I don't need to see more stuff. That's how I felt. Like, I was really nervous about it. And but it turned out it was just the opposite. Everybody was like, they love seeing the stages. They love seeing, things unfold. A lot of people who don't know how to paint, it's a mystery to them how somebody even does it. So,
Yeah.
So people really enjoyed it, and I started creating more and more work. And I did a painting of KU. This is a print too, by the way. This is the University of Kansas. And then right after that one, I did this painting of Kansas City. I just did a whole bunch of different stuff. And then people started asking for things. And people wondered if they could get prints of work. And people started pulling up into my driveway, like random people finding me and pulling up and buying artwork from me and buying prints. And it was just kind of like getting weirder and weirder. Like, it was really cool, but really, at one point I was just like, I think I should maybe get a studio downtown. So I was like, this is just kind of, I mean, it's fine. I like the idea of not spending money on a studio.
Yeah.
I like to work from home.
Yeah.
I just need a small area. I mean, I like to work really big, but in terms of what I actually need to get it done, I mean, I paint, this really big one at Scottsdale, Arizona. This was a 6x9 foot painting in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
And I I had the chance to go there. The people that brought me there. I went on this great photo field trip. I painted this in my garage. So I would just paint wherever I could find space. But I thought I should get a studio downtown and just try it out and see if how it goes, and if it puts me in more of a place where I can connect with more folks. And so I was in a studio. I had some people who they're really amazing friends in my life, and I had decided they're wealthy and they like to support people they believe in, and so I kind of just decided I'm gonna ask them if they would be willing to help me pay rent on this place. They didn't pay for the whole thing, but just they could help me for a year, and that's the only reason I even gave it a shot, actually. And so I decided I would try this, and then when I was only there for 2 months at this one studio, but it's a closed studio, so people weren't coming in and finding me. I wasn't on the strip in like this downtown area. It was a locked building. It was just made for private. They opened once a month for 3 hours during a final art walk thing. Well, I was there for 2 months, and I was kind of getting like, I don't know if this is a right fit. Like, I was glad to be in a place where I could connect with more artists, but so then there's a store right downtown that they opened up an area in their downstairs area. They actually approached me to see if I was interested in having a studio down here, and I just moved everything to this other studio. And for about the first minute of our conversation, because it was like almost 3 times as much rent, and not 3 times as much, but quite a bit more. And so for the first minute of our conversation, I was like, I don't know if anybody needs this space, but I'll give it some thought. And then 1 minute later, I was like, wait, I need to be down here. I need to try it. And because it's like, think of your typical downtown area. You're either in the place where people are going to find you, or you're not. And if you're not, it's a problem. So anyway, I said I went home. I went straight home, and I was just like, Betsy said I had that crazy look in my eye. I get like an idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure you're similar.
Yeah.
You're a dreamer. And so I'm sure Joylyn would be like, yeah, but I know the look.
Yeah.
So I had to look, and she was like, okay. And I was like, in terms of business investment, I was like, even if the whole thing flops, it's worth trying.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lose a few $1,000s, and that's not good, but at least I'm at a point in life where I could lose, not a lot of money, and still be okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so I tried it. It's been a year. It'll be a year at the end of August, and it is so far. It's paid for itself every month in print sales, and then I get all these commissions through it. So I've done several. One I'm working on right now, I can show you.
Yeah.
It's in progress right now. So.
Well, Well, I think that's one of the things that I've really appreciated about some of your work is the way that you've given a little demystification to the process that you go through to make these paintings. And I for one can never do this, but you know, you break it down into these pieces when you show those different parts, and I think that's been a really fun thing to see through your process. So I'd love to see a little bit of the behind the scenes here.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm just like with this Aspen one, I'm just building up layers. I did a Aspen's commission a couple of years ago for a Colorado family, and you know, people like that one, and so I'm doing enough. This is with oil paint, so I can do a lot more like blending. And in fact, I don't want. Tell me if it's getting too bouncy or whatever, because you know when you're carrying a phone, you feel like you can go anywhere. When I'm doing this, my mom, she's always like, "You're moving too much."
Yeah, you're okay.
This is a print of the original Aspen's one, and this is this print with paint on it. So I figured out how to I never dreamed of making prints of my work and then painting it top. That's kind of it was kind of weird and kind of like I don't know if that's okay. But you know what? There's a lot of people who want a painting that don't want to spend $1,000 or $2,000 on a painting. They'll gladly take a print on canvas, and so you know it's a different group to market to. It's an important thing. So I kind of do a whole bunch of different stuff to kind of get different streams of income.
Yeah.
This big one is I don't know if we are since finally came on, but this is going to go in a new brewery in town called the Lawrence Beer Company. And they saw a storm painting I did a while back. They said, "Oh, we got this huge spot. We'd love to have some of your work." And so the storm painting I did was commissioned by somebody a couple summers ago.
Yep.
And it was basically this. And this is like classic Kansas right here. I mean, wind, storms, openness. This is like what you get here. You get crazy storms here.
Yeah. Well, it's such a different like you're communicating that environment in a way that somebody like myself who lives in Michigan, you know, that's not a visual that I get in Michigan, and it's really incredible to see the way that you've you know, communicated that landscape in your painting. It amazes me.
Yeah, it is completely different in Michigan. Boy, I really miss Michigan. Michigan, you know, it's so diverse in its landforms, and I mean, Michigan's a great place to live. You know, all it takes is like moving away from it in about 5 minutes. You realize like, oh man, I live in one of the best places in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool.
I'll put you a drone. I use a drone too sometimes to get photographs.
Okay.
Didn't want to interrupt you, but this is a real painting. This isn't a print, but this is inspired from a picture I took with my drone last fall of the lake that's nearby here. So kind of I tried to use the drone too to get interesting shots with perspective and atmosphere.
Do you generally work off a reference photo, or is a lot of it, or is some of what you do sort of out of your head? Like you'll see something and you'll get an idea of it, and then come back and paint it, or do you generally have something that you're working off of?
I use photos like crazy. I either take photos myself, or if I don't have the privilege of like going somewhere and taking a photo, I'll find photos online and then try to get a hold of the photographers and get permission to paint their image. And I use an iPad, which was really weird in the beginning. When you're trying to match colors with a lit electric display, that was really strange at first. I remember being like, blue blue looks different, but this blue isn't glowing like the blue on my screen.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but I'm so used to it now, I don't even give it a second thought. So
Yeah.
the cool thing about using an iPad is that you can kind of like zoom in to stuff. It's helpful for, it's just, I don't know if people would view it as cheating or not, but there's
But
not really,
it's using what you have, like it's the
it's a different
tool.
tool.
Yeah.
It's a different tool.
Yeah.
Some people just wouldn't be able to even use it.
Yeah.
So I think it's not really cheating.
Yeah.
It's just one of those questions you ask, and you're like, because when I was in art school, this wasn't even available. We
Right.
didn't really had cell phones back
Right.
so, but when I do the artwork like my more, like the stuff I'm a little bit more, I'm passionate about both really, but in different ways. So like this painting of this is a whole very different way of working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And uh, it's more, and this has a lot of texture on it. But it's very kind of tumultuous for me to work this way because like I'm always changing. The painting usually goes through about 5, 6, 7, 10, 30, even 30 different paintings sometimes, and I'm the highest of high is when I think the painting is coming together, and I think like this is one of the best paintings that ever created. Then it's like 2 brushstrokes later, it's ruined, and then I'm like incredibly depressed, angry, frustrated, lots of feelings that aren't good. And actually, that's why I stopped painting for a number of years because I had so many negative feelings associated with what I was creating. Not enough positive stuff was coming out of it. But the landscapes are much more tame and structured, and still really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what's helped me start painting again. Another painting is another. I was hoping. I don't know if it's possible or not anymore. I'll see. I was hoping to create 8 abstract 3 by 3 foot paintings this year.
Mm-hmm.
This one I call thought dogs, and they're just like this is kind of the chaotic world of when you're one of the things I need to turn off on my iPad that I never take the time to do is I don't want news updates all the time.
Yeah.
News notifications.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm just working and something's like blah 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 something terrible, about Trump or who knows what. That's kind of what this painting is about, is like that kind of noise.
Yeah.
So I know you totally get it because you've always kind of enjoyed seeing the more abstract work.
Yeah. Well, when we first met, I think that was the kind of work that I was first introduced to you with. And that's the kind of stuff that I was like, it's in some sense like very childlike, but you take it to like a whole new level of adulthood. It's like the child sort of grew up, but sort of like didn't grow up. Like in terms of the shape and the color and.
Exactly, and that's it though. There's kind of an honesty there that you find with children's work that is raw and wonderful. I'm gonna show you this is Basquiat, and he like the stuff that he did. I mean, it's like it's got that same thing you're talking about. Raw, expressive,
Yeah.
childish, I guess.
You capture that painting of the Meyer coloring contest in your work still.
Yeah, I hope so. This is definitely one of the artists that's given me a lot of inspiration.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was really cool. Well, I want to thank you, Brian, for giving us a little tour of the studio and a little bit better sense of your style and passion and behind-the-scene look at the paintings that you're doing now and the process. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know that you've got a wife and kids to to care for this evening, but it's hopefully it's inspirational to me to see what you're working on, and sort of the background, and hear a little bit more about the successes that you're having there.
Well, I'm happy to see that you're working so hard at creating and making engaging content.
Yeah.
Learning new things. I think it's pretty cool that you're doing this. So I'm honored that you would want me to take some time to visit. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So that's Brian Timmer. He, again, is an artist out of Kansas, and I will include links to both his work and his wife's work in the description below. I recommend that you check it out for yourself, and you can follow him on Instagram as well. I'll leave that link, and watch the process as he goes through these different stages of the paintings. If you are in Kansas, be sure to stop by his gallery, and you can meet him in person yourself. And I appreciate everybody tuning in. And if there's an artist that you would like to see on this station, let me know, and I will do my best to get in touch with them, and hopefully you learned a little bit more about creativity and the process behind that Brian uses. For now, signing off, and we'll catch you next time.